Hey crafters, it's DIY Alex back with another tutorial. It has been a minute and I have missed you guys so much that I decided to come back and do more regular tutorials on YouTube. I've missed you guys so much, so I'm so excited to jump back into regular lives and premieres and all the things. Today we are going to be working with the Cricut Joy because we are going to be making some dissolvable labels, which are a material for writable labels on the Cricut Joy. So if you have a Cricut Joy, this is a huge perk of this machine, is the ability to do this. But actually another thing that I love is you can actually also buy this material in the Maker and Explore size if you want to make dissolvable labels with the Maker or Explore machines. But today that we are going to focus on the Cricut Joy. So give me just a moment to make sure that everything is going through okay. If you guys are in the chat, let me know that you can hear me okay and see me okay, and then we will jump right in. Hey Irma, thank you so much for joining me. I put the time and day that we were going to go live over on my newsletter, but I just realized that I never posted on like Facebook or Instagram. So if you guys didn't read my newsletter, you may not have known that I was going to be live today. But my goal is to do lives or premieres, which if you've been around a while, we used to do a lot of premieres of videos where the first time it plays through, it's all pre-recorded, but there is a live chat. My goal is to do one of those two things every Thursday for the most part. I'm sure that I'll miss a Thursday here and there, and I'll let you guys know when that is going to be, but I'm planning to be back weekly. So we'll see how that goes. Sometimes life gets really busy and that might not, pan out the way that I hope it will. But that's my goal. So I'm so excited to be back. Hey, Kristen, thank you so much for joining me. Good. Thank you so much, Kristen. You're so sweet. I'm glad that everything's looking good on the camera end. Hi, Dee. Welcome. I'm just so excited to be back, you guys. I missed you, and I realized that, I have consistent childcare every Thursday, so there's no reason for me to not be here with you guys for the most part. We'll see. Like I said, life with a toddler, I've just learned to live with an open hand, hope for the best, make plans, but just knowing that we're going to have to be flexible because that's how life is. For example, the last 2 months in a row, we have been hit with household illnesses. In March, I guess that was, we were hit with the flu really hard, but I fared a little bit easier, but my husband and my toddler did not do as well. Then in May, we got I guess it was April, like late April into May, we got some sort of virus. I don't know what it was. But I got hit really hard, and it took me weeks before I felt comfortable like coming back on. And like my voice, I talked about that a little bit on Instagram. When my voice sounds funny or when I'm coughing a lot, I don't like making videos because I don't know how well you guys can hear it, but it sounds super nasally to me. And I feel like Squidward from SpongeBob, like talking like this, and I hate that. So I usually don't do any content when, when anything that I'm sick, like my voice is affected, because I just think that it sounds weird. So anyways, like I said, we'll aim to be back here Thursdays. I'm still playing with the time. 3 o'clock worked really well today. But I have a few hours in the afternoon to play with. So for now, we'll say Thursdays at 3. But honestly, we'll just have to see. It just kind of depends on how things go and how life goes. Because even though I love being a content creator and being here with you guys, as you know, I'm a mom first. And so that always takes priority. And then everything else can be built around that. So, thank you so much, Kristen. That was so sweet of you to share the video over to the group. Hey, Kathy, thanks for joining me. Ooh, sorry, guys. I'm definitely over the sickness now, but I'm telling you what, that was really something. I have not been that sick in a while. I actually ended up I had to go back to the doctor twice, and I almost never do a follow-up, but I ended up having to follow up because your girl was not faring well. So it took weeks to get back to normal. Goodness. Yeah, I'm so excited to be back. I figured we probably wouldn't have a big group today just because I haven't been live in a long time and my YouTube channel's not super active. So I'm not super surprised. But I used to go live every Tuesday. for a really, really long time. So I'm kind of hoping to, you know, bring some of that back into Thursdays. But I hope you guys are doing well. We had a really fun morning this morning. Carter and I went to a homeschool event, even though Carter is not even 2 yet. So we're definitely not homeschooling yet, but I hope to homeschool him someday. And we went to a homeschool like ag day at a working farm this morning, and it was so much fun. Obviously, his attention span's pretty short. So we just kind of walked around the farm and we got to pet a horse and a cow and some sheep. We got to see a combine and a fertilizer, which Carter loves because he's obsessed with tractors and wheels and all the things. So we had a very fun morning. But usually it's a little bit like, usually Thursdays are not that busy. So it was a little bit of a whirlwind of a day. Because I actually do a book club at 6:30 in the morning for other Christian mamas that live in the same town as me, and they come here. So I had book club at 6:30 a.m. I got Carter up, and then we went to the farm, we came back, and then I started work. So it's been a busy, busy day. Yes, Kristen, thank you. She said we all have to be sure to get the algorithm back. I know. And I saw Michael went live last night and he was talking about that too. It is definitely tough when you take a break and you come back. You know, we just don't have the same momentum after our social channels are not as busy. And it definitely makes a big difference. So yes, any likes, any comments in the chat or on the video itself outside of the live chat are very much appreciated. But of course not required. So it's good to be back. But I don't want to chat too long. I want to go ahead and get ready for this project. But I did things a little bit differently today because I did not pre-plan this project. I know what we're going to make, but I don't have something set aside. I didn't record over on Design Space exactly what we're going to do because I thought I would do it live with all of you. I have plenty of time to walk through it today, so I figured we would do it together. The only thing that's a little tricky is I'm going to be broadcasting like my computer screen, so I might not be able to see your comments. I think I can still do that through my iPad, but it might be a little bit tricky. So if I don't see your comments or answer your questions right away, that may be why. But I think I can see him here. Yes, I know, our sweet Michael. I'm hoping he's feeling better. I actually didn't get a chance to watch his video. I saw that he posted one, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So I think it was just on Facebook, D. So that's probably why you didn't get a notification. I don't think he broadcasted it anywhere else. At least as far as I know. Like I said, I didn't watch it, so I don't have a lot of context, but it did pop up on my feed, and I'm going to go back and watch it today because it has been good, fun, but really, really busy around here, which is pretty much the theme of all the time, but especially lately. I feel like I've really been running around pretty much since last weekend. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the tutorial. Just to reiterate, in case you are just now joining me, today we are working with the Cricut Joy and we are making writable labels. So we're gonna be using the pen in the Cricut Joy, and the material we're gonna use is Smart Label paper, but it's dissolvable label paper. So the benefit of that, the reason that you would do that, is because this is ideal for things that you are going to want to label and then wash off soon after. And the best example that I can think of, and it's actually listed on the package here, is for like meal prep. So if you're going to make some food and maybe you want to put the date on it or what exactly it is, because I don't know about you, if you cook a lot, I definitely do. And sometimes what's in the refrigerator and when I made it and how long it's good for is sometimes a little bit sketchy. So it's kind of nice to have these labels on hand that you can put on your containers, but then they easily wash off. I'm assuming in the dishwasher, but definitely hand washing, you know, with like warm or hot water. Definitely. Okay, good. Kristen, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm just reading through the comments on the live. Good deal. Okay, So we're going to go ahead and jump into Cricut Design Space first, because like I said, I did not pre-plan this tutorial like I usually do. And in fact, I might start doing more things like this. So let me know all your feedback. Do Thursday afternoons, like, are they a good time for you? Or do you like walking through the project in real time? Or do you prefer when I pre-plan the project, then usually I do a recording on Design Space and I show you guys how I got there. Let me know in the comments because I want to know all the things. So let me go ahead and switch over to Design Space, and then I will move things over here on my software so that you guys can see. Okay, so I thought we would go about this a couple different ways. I do have Cricut Access, so I often do look up projects and images that are already done in Design Space to see if there is something that I want to use or work off of. So we might go ahead and check in the projects or in the images and see if there are any pre-made labels that we like and that are going to work well. And if not, and maybe even if we'll find something we like, I also want to show you how to make your own labels in case you want to kind of work from scratch and make them yourself if you don't have Cricut Access or whatever, reason you might want to make them yourself, because I always think it's valuable to know how to do both. But like I said, because I pay for access, I do like to check and see if we can get a little bit of work saved. So we'll start in projects and we'll just see what they have. And we'll go ahead. So they have, they've updated Design Space quite a bit recently, as they're always doing. And they have some popular stuff right here. But if you want to get into more of the advanced searches, I've noticed that along all of the bottom areas, there's a search all projects section. And that's where I tend to go because I just like to see all the options. You know what I mean? So let's type in here dissolvable labels and see if anything comes up. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We'll just see. Holy cow, so it says there's over 6,000 projects, but of course, I'm sure they're not all going to be relevant. So let's see, Kristen said, I feel seeing the process in Design Space Live can be beneficial to beginners, so they have the option to ask questions throughout the steps. Great point, Kristen. Yeah, I like that. And sometimes it's fun to just be a regular crafter with you guys. I love sometimes, like you guys know, some of my videos are like super professional and prepared and all that kind of stuff. And then sometimes it's just nice to just come on here and craft. And so far, we'll see how things are gonna go. But my mom comes earlier in the week to watch my toddler. So it's nice because earlier in the week, I can set the live up or, the video up if it's gonna be a premiere. And then I can tell you guys about it so that on Thursday afternoons, I'm just basically ready to go live. So we'll kind of see how all of this works and how it works with my schedule and everything. But it's kind of nice to do it in real time sometimes and not do quite so much planning. Irma said, I'm retired, so anytime is good for me, even if it's a little early in the morning. Perfect. That's a great idea, Irma. That's perfect. Yeah, of course, I am working around when I have somebody here to watch my kiddo because he is 20 months old, which is so crazy. So he's 4 months away from 2, and his ability to hang by himself or play independently is pretty variable. Some days he does great, and other days he is very much wanting me right next to him all the time. So just kind of depends. That's why I always wait to work until I have, or, do something like a live until I have somebody to watch him. So here, I believe we're seeing some community projects, it looks like, which is kind of neat that those are all mixed in. So like this is a spice jar that somebody has made using dissolvable labels. I probably wouldn't use dissolvable labels for that just because I typically don't change my spice jars around very often. But it's cool to also search this, even if you're not a Cricut Access member, and just kind of get ideas for what people are doing and how they're using this material. Another thing I meant to tell you guys, and I sometimes forget to refer to it, but if you were a Cricut Access member, every quarter you get a $10 off coupon to Cricut.com and free shipping. But you also don't have to, like, there's no minimum spend to get the $10 off. So if you can find materials that are like on clearance, you get $10 free and free shipping using that coupon code. So make sure you use that every quarter, because that's sometimes how I get some of these little materials, is by using my coupon code, because I don't necessarily like want to buy all that stuff, but if I can get a couple of them really cheap, then I can use my coupon code to buy the whole thing. So if you're a Cricut Access member, please make sure to keep that in mind. Ooh, Kristen said, I haven't been in Design Space for a while. After winning a Juliet, it has been more Caesar. That's awesome, Kristen. I'm glad you found something that works for you. That's great. Okay. So I am just looking through all of these, and I wonder if we need to use some filters to kind of find what we're looking for. So there's lots of different styles and ideas and options. But I guess what I had in mind was more of like a Cricut design project, but, that's not really coming up a whole lot. So I wonder, let's use the filters or see if there are options for filters. Let's try, so this is all projects. So that includes community projects, featured projects, those types of things. Let's try Cricut Access and see what comes up. And not even all of these are dissolvable labels. This one looks like it is. And those strawberries are super cute. So that's literally just a spot for a date. But I am wanting to leave the space to write open on my labels, because I'm going to make a whole sheet of these and I intend to use them like actually in my kitchen. So that's kind of what I'm going for, but this is very cute. Very cute. There's a homemade jar label. Let's look at that a little closer. Ooh, yeah, so like for canning, that's a great idea. And that way you can easily wash things off your canning jar. That's a good idea. So doesn't look like anything's really like resonating super well with me as far as what I am looking to do. So it looks like we might be making our own, which is just as well. There's lots of great ways to do it. Ooh, a honey and jam jar label. That's cute. My mom and I are going to split some peaches from the peach truck. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but she's getting like 25 pounds of peaches, and we're going to be trying like some jam and some different things like that. So I'm keeping my eye out for a few things like that. Ooh, drink name labels. That's a good idea, like for a party. I love that idea. So another feature that is a little bit newer to Design Space, but it has been around a while, is the ability to click the little flag here to bookmark, or I would call it like saving projects. So sometimes when I'm coming across stuff and I'm not, I don't want to use it right now, but I want to use it later, possibly, I just click the little bookmark and then I can hang on to those projects for a later date. Kristen said the pantry organizer one looks good. Yeah, I know. Those are really pretty too. Like for containers that you're going to keep things consistent. I really like the clean look of those. Those are really, really nice. But yeah, this is not exactly what I had in mind. Ooh, a binder label. That's a good idea. I don't really know that you would have to use dissolvable paper with that, but you could. It wouldn't hurt anything. Yeah, there's lots of cute ideas here, but they're just not quite... They're not quite showing me like what I am looking to do, because I'm looking to do more like meal prep stuff, like I said, that's like actually gonna, be washed off pretty readily. So let's not bother with anything Cricut Access, and I'll just show you how I would make these myself. Actually, because there's another option we could do. And instead of going in here and doing like searching dissolvable paper, we could just search like writable labels, and maybe we'll come up with some options that are a little bit more general, because sometimes what I have a hard time with when I'm designing stuff like this is like making the labels prettier. Like I sometimes like am so focused on getting done what I want to get done that I forget to like add, maybe an outline around the outside of the shape, or, adding a little flourish that would be cute. So that's partially why I like looking up some of these project ideas, because it can be inspiring for me too, to, think about extra things that I could add that I might not have thought of before, if that makes sense. So let's just see what comes up when we check writable labels. Ooh, that's kind of cool. That looks like craft supplies, but that's fun. And I like the little, sorry guys. I haven't been coughing for weeks, but all of a sudden all this talking is Making it hard. I like the shape of these, how they have like we'll look at the picture a little closer. I like the kind of the fun shape of those. So we could do something like that, and that's easy to do. I'm sure we can probably honestly find that in the shapes panel, or we could just check images for a similar shape. Yeah, I'm just not really seeing it. Ooh, that's a good idea, Kristen. She's suggesting that I search meal prep labels. Yeah, that's a good idea. Ooh, I like how they did like an oval, and they also just have an outline just to make something like a little bit prettier. Because if we're going to make it fun, we might as well, you know, add some pizzazz. That's a good idea, Kristen. Let's search meal prep labels and see. Leftovers labels. Ooh. Contents. What's that say? Use it. Use it on? Is that what that says? Or you maybe use it by. Use by, something like that. That is pretty cute. Now, I was looking for something that's a little more cutesy than that, but that is exactly the idea that I had in mind. Or like the process. Hey, Precious, welcome. Oh, little guy is doing so well. Carter is 20 months old, which is insane to say out loud because that means he's 4 months old from 2, and I am not ready, okay? Nothing in me is ready for Carter to be 2. But he is doing so well. Thank you for asking. He's just a bundle of fun. Being his mom is just the most fun thing ever. Ooh, what does this say? Oh, that's a silly picture. Here, oh, we can't really see. But that's kind of what I'm going for, just with something fun. Oh, there we go. Okay, item, prepared date, used by. Ooh, so this one is like detailed. This is a lot. I was gonna make mine a little simpler than this, but that's kind of a good idea. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I mean, I pretty much know, but based on what the item is, I know what meal it's for. But that's very descriptive. Love that. Plus, I do have a lot of different container sizes and stuff too. So the problem is that some of those labels are too big and they wouldn't fit on some of my containers, depending on what they are. Oh, is this what you were talking about for the freezer labels, Kristen? Ooh, look at that. It's got like the whole recipe. Oh my gosh, you guys. This would be so cute if you were taking a meal train to someone. I don't know about you guys, depends on the season of life that you're in. But because I am in my early 30s, pretty much everyone around me is having babies all the time, which is so fun. And I love taking people meals. That's like one of the things that's a way that I love to serve people that I care about, is bringing them a meal, even if they're just like sick or there's a lot going on, but especially when there's a new baby. So it would be super cool to kind of label what you're bringing people, because there's allergies and preferences, and hopefully those things about them before you take the meal to them. But this would be so nice for that. Yeah, and this person who uploaded this, they said, I started making freezer meals to make my life a little easier come dinner time. I created labels with my Joy Extra and Cricut writable vinyl. This is my first one. I thought the label needed some animation, so I added some fun images. If you were interested in the meal, the recipe is in the file on the canvas. It was pretty tasty, topped with some sour cream, guac, and olives. Enjoy. You guys, that's so cute. Okay, I'm definitely bookmarking this for the future, because I have a friend that she's due somewhere towards the end of this month, and she'll have a baby really soon. So I have already told her, like, I'm already looking for recipes for what I'm gonna bring you guys. So that would be super cool to have prepared. And while we're looking, these are like so close, but they're not quite what I had in mind. You know what I mean? But it's good also, honestly, just getting ideas. I like that part too. It's just seeing what people are doing with it. Another tip that I actually read from the Meal Train website that I thought was so smart is they suggested going to thrift stores and getting like containers that you can use for bringing meals to people in. And then that way, instead of bringing them in like a disposable pan or like one of those like aluminum disposable pans, which is usually what I do when I bring people meals, they suggested like thrifting the item. And then you can just say, hey, like this is a thrifted item, go ahead and keep it, or fill it up and give give it to somebody else, whatever you want to do, but that way they don't have to worry about bringing a container back to you. And I thought that was such a good idea. It's such a good tip. Okay, well, I think we've looked for long enough and we've established that these aren't really what I had in mind. So let's go ahead and exit out of here. We got some inspiration to get started, and now we'll go ahead and dive on in. Precious said, oh, wow, I know you're going to go crazy decorating his party. Of course I am. In fact, I've already started. I've already kept a big box because, so I talked about this in my newsletter. If you guys are not on my newsletter, that's probably the most consistent communication, which is honestly still not that consistent, that I'm putting out these days. And I told you guys in my newsletter that the theme that I think I'm going to do for his second birthday is Chugga Chugga Tutu, because he is obsessed with Thomas the Train. We don't really watch TV. That's just not something that we have done with Carter thus far. But while we were sick and I was sick, I ended up letting him watch more TV than usual. And really the only show that pretty much captivates his attention is Thomas the Train. So we're going to do Chugga Chugga Tutu for his second birthday. And I'm just so excited. I kept a big box because I want to make a big like Thomas the Train for the kids to like sit in or crawl in. I'll have to like cut a hole in the box. But I think it's going to be so cute if I actually get there. I only kept the box because it was like the perfect size. Okay, guys, so I'm looking through the basic shapes panel to see what shape I want to make my labels. And honestly, I could do more than one, really. But some of these are perfect because they look just like the ones we looked at that, you know, had a little bit of pizzazz but weren't like crazy decorative. Oh, thank you, Kristen. She said, can we just say how adorable he was in those Easter pictures with his bow tie? Okay, his Easter pictures were so cute. He hammed it up in that outfit. We went to my in-laws' church for Easter. I'm just going to add some of these to my canvas so that we can take a look at them, you know, and kind of look a little closer. And he was living it up. Sometimes he is really shy and he's like not so much about the attention. And then other times when we go out, I literally cannot get this boy to like not get everyone to wave at him, get everyone to look at him. He is so funny. It just totally depends on his mood, but he was hamming it up in that Easter outfit. He was so cute. Dee said, so is he over airplanes? Well, the airplanes was my choice. Since he was in my belly still when I picked the airplanes for his nursery. But it just kind of, I don't think that he's really processed that yet. Like sometimes we hear, you know, airplanes and I point up at him when we're outside, but I don't think that he's really gotten the concept. So I still have hope that he'll love airplanes. But for right now, he loves trains, choo-choo trains, Thomas the Train, you know, all those types of things. So, and I looked on Pinterest and I love the idea of calling it Chugga Chugga Tutu. I think that's so cute. So I cannot wait. That's going to be so fun. Okay, so here's a couple of the basic shapes that I pulled. And as I'm looking at it, even though these shapes are kind of fun with pizzazz, I'm thinking more about going with a simple shape. Just because like I don't really want a bunch of extra corners, you know? Like that sounds like a good idea. Maybe this one would be okay with the corners cut off. But the rounded corners look nice too. I guess I'm not really digging this one. So we'll go ahead and delete that. Let's see. And I'm thinking, honestly, I use mostly glass containers in my kitchen because that's my goal. But I have round and I have square. So I wonder if I should do a version of these, like, depending on the container size. You know what I mean? So I wonder if I should add in a circle too. And then I can have like round ones or circular ones depending on the size of the container. And typically if I'm labeling it, it's probably big enough that like, you know, most things would work, honestly, either way. But yeah, even though I said I wanted something fancy, you guys, I'm definitely going away from that. I'm looking at these two, the closest. But then again, a circle is kind of a pain, so really I'd kind of prefer an oval. Just because I think you can fit more information and write more easily on an oval than you can on a circle. you know? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'd love to hear your input. I'm not digging the plain square, so we'll get rid of that. And I don't know. This one's just not really, it's not really vibing with me, what I thought I would like. Let me know in the comments, guys. I think at least for now, I'm going to check the eyeball and hide that. That pretty much just turned that into that. But I do like the idea of a rectangle, because I just think it would be easy to write on, you know? Okay. Well, I don't want to drag on forever. So, oval more space. I agree, Kristen. Okay, for bare minimum, we're going to go ahead and hide these. But I'm kind of thinking, so the width of this one is 2.75. Let me look at that like on my on my mat. Yeah, I think that's okay. I like to sometimes look at things in real life because, especially like with labels and stuff, I don't want to make something that's way too big where it's not going to fit on a lot of my containers, like on the top, or it's so small that I can't really write anything on it. So I think 2.75 is pretty reasonable. And then this one, I'll probably do maybe like, okay, it's already 2.5. So that's pretty close to that anyways, huh? So maybe I'll do this one for a little bit smaller at 2.5, and I'll do this one at 2.75. And then, you know, it should be pretty easy to work with. I'll turn these both white. While they're in Design Space, they'll still have this outline. But then I was trying to decide how I can get a little bit of like an inset that I want to write an inset, or, you know, create a line with my pen. So I think the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. So we'll make it like, let's try like 2.65 wide and see how that fits inside of it. I'm going to turn it gray just so we can see the difference. That's still maybe not quite small enough. So let's try 2.55. And if we align these, so I just selected both, I'm going to go to align and then center. Yeah, that looks really good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this gray one that I created, and instead of making it a basic cut, I'm going to turn it to pen. And then that way it'll draw me in a little offset around the outside. But I need to align and center them again so that it'll look something like this. Then we'll do the same thing over here on the oval. So I'll duplicate it, and I'll make it maybe, try 2.4, see if that's small enough. No, it's still really not much different. So let's try 2.35. I selected both. Then I'm going to go to align and center, see if I think that's enough of an edge. And I feel like the other one has a little bit more. So I'm going to select the gray again, and I'll just try 2.3. I think that's going to be a little bit better. Whoop. Oh, my computer is running out of battery. Let me grab my laptop cord here. Okay, so got that all plugged in. So now I am going to take this gray piece, and I'm going to take it, we'll turn it back to like the regular black, I guess. Go from Operation Basic Cut to pen, and then it'll draw in the middle of that for me. So that's kind of the basics. And then I think I'm just going to, I'm going to put my text in here that I know is important. And then we can add in some other flourishes or maybe like another design, because I do want to like give them some pizzazz. I just don't know what yet. So let's get some text in here. And I've struggled with the wording on these a little bit because I don't know if I should say like Oh, where'd my text box go? I don't know if I should say like, actually, let's look at fonts and see. But I don't know if I should say like contents or meal or, even just like what, like what's in this. I don't know what the best wording is for that. So what do you guys think? What would you use if you were making meal prep containers? I am going to go under the filter and use the writing one because I obviously want to make sure that the font I'm using is a writing font or has a writing style. And then I am using Cricut fonts because, again, I have Cricut access. Feel free to use the system fonts if you don't, and that will just show you the fonts that are installed on your device. Ooh, yeah, that's true, Kristen. She said font's the perfect way to add that special touch. That's true. So I can definitely make them more fun depending on, the font that I choose. That's a good point. I have always loved brown sugar. You can see it's bookmarked here for me. I love brown sugar. I think it's such a cute font. But let's see what else is out there. Ooh, I like Spring Charmed. See, I have it bookmarked. Or maybe it shows that way for all of them because you could bookmark it. Or I just do have these bookmarked. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been through those. Item, you think, Kristen? Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Because I do make like, sometimes it's a whole meal, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. It's like steamed spinach or something. Like it's not necessarily, a full meal or anything. It's just something that I've prepped. So I think leaving it general would be good. Yeah, some of these are getting kind of fancy. And since this is going to be small, I don't want to, go too crazy. I like 4 Seasons too. It is bookmarked for me. So yeah, some of them are not, and that's when they're empty. But the green ones mean they are bookmarked for me. Clearly, I have some of the same taste, right? Yeah, okay. So I'm not crazy about any of these. But I like 4 Seasons. That does look really close together though. I don't want it to be hard to read, especially at a really small size. Ooh, that sweet berry's kind of cute. I'm really liking the Spring Charm. Let's try this, and then if I don't like it, then we can always change it. Okay. Okay, you guys. Oh, that's where they were showing up. I was like, why is this not showing up on my canvas? Design Space was bouncing them down really far because I was like, that's really weird. We'll drag all these up near our font here, or near our items, I mean. Okay. So let's try this. Let's try item. If anyone else has any other suggestions, I would love to hear them. And I obviously, like I said, I want to leave myself plenty of room to write. So I mean, obviously they're going to have to be small, but I don't want them to be so, I don't want the text that we write to be so big that it like takes up the whole label, So item, and then I think probably like a use by is smart because then, I can follow like general rules for when to use the food or throw it away. I think this would help my husband too because sometimes I make stuff while he's not home and then he doesn't know, exactly when I started it. So something I like to do is either click on the font size and you can copy the font size, or the more important thing is the height of the letters. That's something that I have found when you're working with a project with multiple lines, you really want the font sizes to be the same because it's really noticeable when you, actually cut the label out and everything. So really, I could do something like that maybe. And then maybe I can put a little something like over here, like a little, I don't know, a little flourish or something of some kind. Because that's like the whole point of using your Cricut, right? Is like making it fun and making it cute. Okay, so then we'll kind of copy this. I'm just using Control C on my keyboard and then Control V to paste it. And then I'm gonna bring it over here to this label. And I'm thinking for this one, we might have to put like item and stuff at the top and then right underneath. And then use by, and then also put that underneath. But that one definitely does not have as much room. Not that maybe it needs it, but you know what I mean? I just don't want this to like feel really cramped. So some of this may take some trial and error depending on like, you know, me trying it out and then being like, oh, you know, that was too small or that's not exactly right. I may have to come back and adjust this project. But I already put the supplies and the things I'm using in the description of this video, so feel free to check that out. But I will also, when I'm finished with this project, I will try to put the project link in there as well, in case you guys are also Cricut users. Then you can just go into Design Space and find it. You can also follow me like as DIY Alex in Design Space, and then you can look through my projects on my profile. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good to start with. Let's go in and see if we can find anything that looks like it would work well as a flourish or like extra something. And if not, that's okay too. You know, we might find something, we might not. So let's go into images and we're gonna use advanced search here at the bottom. And then I'm gonna filter things by things that can be drawn, right? Because that's the most important part, is to be able to be drawn on the label. And let's just type in like food and see what comes up. And see if there's anything that would work well. Because obviously something like this at a super tiny, like a pie, at a super tiny size is not going to work very well. So it's probably going to have to be, I noticed that this is new that I have noticed it, is for crafting complexity. I didn't know that they had that, or at least I don't think that they've at least worded that way. But I'm going to check this simple box and see if, oh, well, that gives me no options. So that's not good. Maybe moderate. Maybe moderate will bring down, you know, some, or eliminate, sorry guys, the words are not coming to me. It will eliminate some of the stuff that's definitely not going to work. Thanks, Dee. She said liking both labels. Good deal. Well, I like the pear. That's kind of fun. I don't really, most of my stuff doesn't contain pears, but that's kind of a cute, like simple thing that I could add to the corner or something that won't take up too much room. So it looks like a lot of things are kind of similar. That looks like maybe spinach leaves or something. This stuff's cute, but I'm still not really sure that it's the right thing. Okay, I'm gonna type in what I'm picturing in my head. If you guys have ever made sourdough bread, is like the little really simple kind of like wheat shape or wheat thing that people would like draw along the side of a sourdough when they're scoring it. That's like kind of what I'm picturing, if that makes any sense. You guys may have no idea what I'm talking about. It's kind of like this, except it's usually curved, or at least when I draw it. Oh, that says it's lavender. But it's usually curved when I draw it in on my sourdough. That's kind of what I was picturing, but I don't know if we'll be able to find that or not. Ooh, that's a pretty one. So since we're gonna go through a bunch of these, I'm probably just gonna click plus and add a bunch of these to my canvas just to be able to easily access everything that I like, you know? Well, that didn't yield very much. Let me type in maybe accent and see like what comes up. Ooh, that's a good idea to search, Kristen. She said food border. G said customizing to each food would take time but worth it. Yeah, it might, D. It definitely might. And you could kind of categorize things by like what you make. So like there's full meal prep, you know, there's like sides, entrees, different things. So you could also make different labels depending on what you think you're going to be prepping. And you could do it that way too. You said food border. Is it that kind of border? Yeah. So it looks like there are some little like line options. Ooh, that's kind of fun and simple. Like a simple border. Let's add that in and just see. Just like some fun little shapes. That's good to keep in mind. What's that? It's so tiny. Oh, animal kids menu items. That's probably not the right direction for this. Okay, well that yielded a couple things. Okay, well let's go back in because I actually really like, that's really big, but I really like that second thing I added in here, this little simple border. But this could be pretty too. Oh, yeah, I ended up with an extra text box there. So, especially because I don't want this to take up too much room either. Yeah, Kristen said the draw only limitations on the images is definitely hard, especially because even though drawing is definitely a thing people do with the Cricut, it's obviously not nearly as popular as like cutting images. So that definitely does make it tricky. I could add in something like this. It almost seems like it would look better over here on this label. We'll zoom in again. I actually feel like, at least on this one, that my text is too big. Just because the label's so little. So let me try, there's the font size. I might just paste that over here on the use by. And then maybe we'll have a little space for something like this. What do you guys think? Let's, I selected everything by clicking and drawing a box around all of it. I'm going to go to a line and then center horizontally so that we can make sure everything looks like it's in the right spot. And I actually kind of like it because then that way you're not allowing your text to go down into this line. I think that might actually be just right. And then we have this one, which I like, but it's a little bit like wide. What if we flipped it over? Because the use by, I mean, I just need to be able to scribble, you know, a week from now. I don't need to be writing a whole book or anything about when to use whatever I've cooked. So I don't know, maybe we should go back in. Maybe I'll type in like leaf accent or something like that and see what else I can find. Because I think that's along the right lines. We're gonna use our same settings here. So I'm going to make sure it's a drawable image. I'm going to leave the crafting complexity out of it. And maybe I'll type like, ooh, and I like that it comes up with suggestions. That's different. So they have leaf outline, ooh, leaf frame, leaf branch, leaf stem. That might be more like what I'm thinking of. Let's try leaf branch. Hey, Candace, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Well, the first one is the same one I already used. And these other ones are not quite it. So I'll delete that and see what leaf stem comes up with. There we go. Like something like this, maybe. Maybe. I probably spoke too soon there. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not loving any of these. And this is why I pre-plan a lot of my projects, guys. Because it takes me a really long time to decide what I like. You guys just don't usually see that decision-making process. Ooh, that's cute. That would be good as a kind of a divider on a label too. Ooh, and I like those corners. But that's holly. That's like for Christmas. But that's like kind of along the right lines. I wonder, you used to be able to, yeah. So if you click on the image, you used to be able to find similar images, but I think they're all going to be probably holiday related. But I'm almost looking for something like, you know, almost like half of that to put in the corner, but maybe that would look crazy. Who knows? And that's Christmas stuff. let's open up this one and see what other similar images are below. Oh, you guys, something like that. That is really pretty. I don't know that we can draw that really, really teeny tiny. But we can certainly take a look at it. Oh, that's cute too. Okay, guys, we might have found what we were looking for. Oh, I missed you too, Candace. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Like I was telling them earlier, you know, you have to hold these things with an open hand when you have little kids. That is just part of life. But I'm hoping to be back here on Thursdays. And I'm still playing with the time. I think right now, 3 o'clock works well. So I'm going to start there. And I'm going to hope for the best. And hope I can come back more often because I've missed you guys a lot. I just miss doing videos and stuff, but sometimes, you know, in this season of life, it's a little trickier for me to do as much planning as I was doing before. And premieres and stuff, I know you guys obviously don't, whoops, Control Z to not make that a different size. You guys don't see a lot of the prep that goes into that, but it definitely takes a lot of work. And I just don't usually have that kind of time or capacity the way that I used to. So lives work really well for me because I can pre-plan them, but also I can just kind of show up. I can decide how much pre-work I want to do, you know, beforehand. So that works really well. But I have a million video drafts because over like the last year or so, most of the things that I've made, I've recorded and I don't have any of them edited. So we might do some premieres so that I can use up some of my drafts that I've saved for you guys. Okay, I'm going to eliminate this one because I don't like it. Or just take a look around. Yes, it definitely is, Candace, especially, I think all moms are busy, but especially moms of like little tiny kids. It is definitely tricky. Okay, I'm really liking this one. I think that one is more along the lines of what I was looking for, but this one looks like it might go with some of the other options that I grabbed for over here. So we'll keep this one. Whoops. Anytime you accidentally stretch an item, you can just use Control Z on your keyboard, or you can also use the undo arrow if you prefer. I like using keyboard shortcuts because that's just what I'm accustomed to, but either one works fine. I think this one's too wide. It's pretty, but I think it's going to take up too much of my label, and I want to have plenty of room to write, so I'm going to get rid of that one. And I know you guys can't see that, but I'm just using the delete key on my keyboard. The thing about Design Space, if you don't already know, is that there's almost always like more than one way to do what you want to do. So you can just kind of pick your preference. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to use your keyboard as much as I do. You can just, you know, go over to the layers panel and click delete if you prefer. There's a lot of ways to do it, or even right click on it and you can use any of these commands. So there's more than one way to do it. I like the idea of flipping this one and like mirroring it. The way we would do this is we would go to flip and then flip horizontal. But I think it looks kind of funky without having another side, you know, like where that's like so circular. I think it looks funny just being on one side. So we'll eliminate that one. Hey, Carrie, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I think this one is kind of a winner. You guys, I'm liking it. I'm probably going to flip this one as well because I feel like it would work better maybe like this. I think. But then again, we might have to rotate it a little bit. I don't know, guys. Does that look weird? I can't really find a good spot for it unless I make it like really big, but then it does exactly what I don't want it to do. And it kind of takes up too much of my label here. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I am definitely, though, now that I'm seeing it, this one is definitely a no-go, and I really like these other ones. Now, like I said, I'm hopeful that we can draw this small. I'm a little concerned about using the pens at this size and like making images this tiny, that might be too much, but I think we can give it a shot. You like it, Carrie? Okay, good. Well, maybe I'm just overthinking it. That definitely wouldn't be the first time. This is going to be like 1/4 of an inch high. Oh, that's so tiny. But let's try it. Because I feel like I really don't need that much room for the date. So I'm going to move that down some. And I'll recenter it. And these obviously are a little bit different, but I do want the leaves to kind of match. I either want them to both be pointy leaves on both labels or both have round leaves, even if they're not the same, even if they're not like the exact same image. You know what I mean? So we'll kind of leave that one here for now. And let's go back over here. Whoops. I meant to grab this. You guys like it smaller? Are you talking about the oval or this one? Because this one, I still really like the idea. I'm just, you know, kind of playing with it. And see, like going like that puts it in the corner, but then it goes into where I need the most writing space. So let's turn it. Nope. Definitely don't like upside down. Not a fan. Maybe like that, where it kind of skips over the corner. Okay. I'm kind of liking it. Kristen said, I'm thinking of being extra and slicing out the use by area on the image and have the leaves on both sides. Ooh, that's kind of a good idea, Kristen. Gosh, there's like so many different ways that you could do it. And I think they're all good. Like they're all great ideas. And in fact, I might even leave these leaves in here because I think I'm going to try this the way that things are. But I might, like I said, I might come back in here and change this up. After, you know, I use these labels, are they the right size? Am I really gonna, you know what I mean? Like I feel like you got to try this stuff out and see if it really is a good fit. And then if it's not, and then, you know, you can always like kind of come back and change it. Kristen said, or wrap the image on the other side. Oh, you mean like move it over here or have another one? Because that's a good idea too. Kathy says wrap it. So you like when I tilted it better? I don't know, guys. I'm digging it like this. But I don't think that there's a wrong answer, you know? I think that they're all good things that could be really, really cute. But I'm wondering if these fonts are smaller, maybe these don't need to be as big as they are. These were like 23.89. I mean, 24 size font is like plenty big enough. So that might be a way to get around some of this too, is making this tiny as well. Might have to go back in and change my placement a little bit, but yeah, I'm liking that. Move it over. Okay, like move it all the way over. Is that what you mean? Here, let me duplicate this. And then we can play with it. Down here. That, for some reason, didn't get duplicated. So we'll add it back in. Move it over here. Or up. Or are you saying like that? Sorry. I know it's really hard to communicate through YouTube. Ooh, interesting, because then you're writing on the right side. Oh, interesting. Kathy Ann said leaves and rectangle label could be made skinnier. Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So like that? Because otherwise, if I stretch it taller, they'll get a little thinner too. I don't know, guys. I like that too. Okay, let's try, but let me try bending the stem the other way. So if we flip it, could go like that. Is that what you mean? That's a good idea too. Honestly, there's obviously no wrong answer. It's just all personal preference. But, guys, I don't know. I'm so partial to this one. Maybe I'll make it a little bit thinner as you suggested. That way it's not like taking up quite so much. But I think I like it over here on the right because you've got all the writing here, and I'm going to be writing like here, you know, could make any notes here, and then here. Or I could bring item down and I could make this whole label smaller, but I don't know. Let's just go ahead and try this. I love your suggestions. They're wonderful, but I don't want to take up all day to make this project because it seems like it could take a long time. So here's what we're going to do. Since we have all these different parts in place, we do need to attach these items so that they cut and draw in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to call this one rectangle label. We'll just change the name of our layers here. Then we'll select everything here, attach this, and we'll call this oval label. That way, if I come back later and I want to do something with it, you know, it's easy to find where I attach everything. So we'll call these, I'm kind of inspired by what we were looking at. So I feel like you could call this a leftover and meal prep label. And I'll put in parentheses, dissolvable labels. I forgot a B in there. A V here. That way, if somebody else is searching for a dissolvable label idea, they will know what to search for. And so I think I have a label section, don't I? I thought I did. Vinyl projects, stickers. Well, I don't know, because that could also go under organization projects. Yeah, I think that's organization. So we'll click on save here. Okay, I see. Sorry. I'm reading back your comments again. Leaves in the, yeah. So you made them smaller, but keeping it on the right side. That just seems to give you the space to write. Yeah, agreed. I like it. I like it. Yeah, you're right. I could probably go even a little bit smaller. Well, we'll try this out, and I can always come back and change it. But hopefully this will be easier. And yeah, so let's give this a shot. I'm going to go ahead and click on make. And then instead of, okay. Loading our materials, we're going to do without a mat because we have smart materials. We'll click on confirm. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the project copies. So instead of making like a million labels, I'm going to use the project copies feature because I really like doing that. Let's see how long this little smart label paper is. So it's like almost a meter long. Yeah, it's like 3 feet long. So let's go ahead and I don't know how many we can do. Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't even think about putting in the material size. Let's try it. That's in inches though. So what would that be? 3 feet would be what, 36 inches, right? So then I know I can do, let's try at least 5. Applying project copies will undo manual edits. This action will reset any objects that have been moved. Oh, okay. Hidden or mirrored. Wait, hidden objects? Huh. Okay, let's try. I think that's okay. Okay, so that takes us to 21.25 inches. So, but we still have more to work with. And I'm going to go ahead and just use this whole thing. Or actually, maybe I'll save a little bit in case I decide to come back and change it. Because I only have one roll of this. So, If I only use like less than that, then I can come back and make it, and that'll still give me 10 labels, which is pretty generous. I kind of hate to leave this space open over here, but I don't, even turning it sideways, I'm not sure that we could do that. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go with this and hope for the best. So we'll click on continue. And let this connect. And it's taking a long time. Okay, so we're gonna browse all materials and then we're gonna search for dissolvable. Yep, here we go. Smart Label, dissolvable, matteless, writable paper. That's a mouthful. Click on done. Okay, and then I have all the things. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch you guys over to the overhead angle. And we can get the Joy ready to go. So I've had my pens sitting like this in a cup for a couple hours now because I wanted to make sure that they were ready to go. But another tip that I like to use when writing with my Cricut, whether it's the Joy or anything else, is I always like to draw on like a piece of paper or something and make sure that the pen, like, it's kind of get it started, if you will. So let me grab a sticky note here. And I'm just gonna draw, ow, oh, you guys, I just hit my funny bone, ow. That like feels so weird. I hate when I do that. Okay, I'm just gonna like scribble here on a sticky note just to make sure that the pen is ready to roll. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the pen because with the Cricut, you always start with writing first. I'm gonna go ahead and stick my Cricut Joy, just the 0.4 black pen in here. I don't know, this one doesn't have a little triangle like the other pens do. We'll close that clamp and then I need to open up my Smart Label paper. This is my first time writing and cutting this material, so I'm kind of excited. Okay, so if you've never worked with smart materials before from Cricut, they have a bit of a thicker backing, and they also always have these like open sides so that the Cricut can kind of grip the material itself. So it's acting like it wants to take it, but it's not loading it. There we go. So I'm just gonna leave this piece long. It's checking to make sure I have enough material, and I do. So then, from the computer, I will have to click on go because there's no go button on the Joy. All right, y'all, hopefully this doesn't take forever. We'll find out, won't we? And if you guys have any questions, of course, let me know. Definitely drop them in the comments because I'm happy to answer them. While this is going, I thought we would chat through a couple of other things. So something that I'm not going to get a chance to use today, but I would honestly love to play around with, is I bought the universal pen adapter for the Cricut Joy. So I did a summit presentation on this, but I have not shared this over on YouTube. There is a new product on the market. Oh, you guys. It's kind of bleeding on the paper a little bit. It doesn't look terrible. You'll be able to see it here in just a minute. But it kind of, like the lines are not super crispy. Okay. Well, see, good thing we didn't use all this material because I might be coming back to change things around. I wondered if having the text too small would be an issue. But either way. So I did a summit presentation on writing with your Cricut for Cricut Craft Fest back in, when was that? Maybe February. And when I looked up, I just wanted to look up like updated information about writing with your Cricut, because sometimes things come out and I don't realize it. And lo and behold, there has now been a universal pen adapter created for both the Maker and Explore machines as well as the Cricut Joy. And so that is just exactly what it sounds like. It's a little like pen holder that goes in the slot on the Joy, and it allows you to use basically most pens with the Joy instead of having to have the Cricut Joy specific pens or Cricut specific pens in general, which is awesome. I don't know what about you guys, but I was thrilled to find out this information, and I haven't actually used the universal pen adapter with the Joy yet. I bought it when I bought it for the Explore machines, but I have not played with it. So that's something that I want to play with and show you guys how to use, because I think for like the adapter at the time I bought it was like less than $15. Being able to use this with your machine so that you don't have to buy a million adapters, you don't always have to use Cricut pens, is such a game changer. Like, I'm so excited about that. So I still have to learn though, because this one is different than the Explorer one. Like, it's still got some sort of adapter, but I'm not really sure what to use for what. So I'd have to look into that first. But let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in a tutorial specifically about the universal pen adapter, because I would be happy to give you one. When I do those virtual summits that I participate in often, I have to wait several months usually before I can post the content on my own channel. And I'm not sure that I'm going to be posting that one on YouTube. I think I did promise that one was going to be exclusive, because I think I'm going to add it in for my course students. But I could make you a different tutorial showing you how to use it, because I still think it's really beneficial. But that is something that I'm really excited about. And I got it out wondering if I didn't take a super long time today. I thought we might have time to play with this at the end, but I don't think we're going to have time for that, just based on what time it is and how much time I have today. So yeah, so that's another thing. I do have some other like Smart Label writable vinyl that we could use with the Joy, but obviously writing with the Joy is pretty similar depending on your material. You might find some different preferences with like how the pens do and different things like that, but at the end of the day, writable labels are going to be the same no matter what material you use with them. And I think I said this at the beginning. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I did. But in case you are jumping in late, they do also make Smart Label dissolvable paper for Maker and Explore machines as well. So I have a roll of that that I bought as well. So you can use this with the big machines if you want to make labels. And the Joy is kind of marketed towards making labels with it, but of course you can make them with the bigger machines as well. There's definitely no reason that you can't. I also think that you could use your space a little bit better, because with the Smart Materials here, I'm definitely wasting a lot of space here, and I don't really have time to like really pack it in. But if I really like wanted to, you know, get crazy and make sure I was using every square inch, I would do that. I just don't have time for that today. But, well, that is cutting here. Let me try and do one of my cool, like, secondary angles. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. It's been a couple minutes since I've done that. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. Yay! Now you guys can see me in the corner. Hi! I was going to answer your questions, which I think are right here. Kristen said, how is your sewing going? You're so sweet, Kristen. Guess what? My sewing machine that I got for Christmas is still in the box, unopened, untouched. And I really, really, really want to. I just have not had a chance. And so that's another reason why I think it would be fun to go live with you guys every week again, because it keeps me accountable for making the projects that are in my head. Because I have like open tabs in my mind of tons of projects I want to do and I want to try. But because I have not been making as many videos, I have not been getting those out of my head and getting them onto paper. So I want to get that out, and I have not even touched anything sewing related, I don't think, in 2025. But I really, really want to, because sewing sounds so much fun to me. In fact, well, I just recorded a video. You guys won't see it until September because it's for another summit. But I'm actually going to be taking my resin cabinet in my craft room and taking out all the supplies from that. I don't know if I'm going to get a new piece of furniture or if I'm going to try to make the cabinet that I have work, but I'm going to turn that into like a sewing station. I don't know that I'll actually be able to sit there and sew, but like keeping everything together, because that is something I really, really want to expand. Not that I don't love resin projects, because those were awesome and I did them for so many years and they were so much fun, but I've just kind of, I don't know, I feel like I've kind of passed that season where I have that much time to spend on a project, you know, because epoxy resin especially, I mean, stuff can take days by the time you allow curing time and all that stuff, and I just am not in this season where that's practical. So even though sewing is not necessarily quick either, but I think it's more practical for me, for my family, you know, that type of thing. So that's one change that is up in my head, but has not made it into real life yet. I know, Kristen, I'm so glad you've been posting your sewing projects, because you always, like, every time I see you post one, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need to get on it. And I love seeing what you're creating. Dee said, how is Penguin doing? So in case you guys are new around here, Penguin is my cat. And he is pretty good. I did have to take him to the vet last week because he is getting sick a lot. And luckily though, they ran labs and they did x-rays, and it turns out that they don't see anything out of the norm and anything like that. They think that he may have developed an intolerance to his cat food. So I have not ordered it yet, but I have a prescription for some different food to order on Chewy. And hopefully that will take care of the getting sick issue, because bless his little heart, he is staining my carpet all over the place and driving me crazy in that aspect. But otherwise, I mean, he's still acting fine, like, you know, behaving like his normal goofy self. So that's good. He's doing great otherwise. Dee said, the Joy is a handy cutter for sure. Glad you reminded us it's not just a pretty decoration on a shelf. Thank you, Alex. You're welcome, Dee. Honestly, sometimes I fall prey into that as well, especially because I just use my bigger machines more often, so I just don't always think to pull out my Joy. But, you know, it's fun to use different machines and stretch our skills and use, you know, different things. So that's why I decided we were going to do this on the Joy. Of course, I could have done it with my big machines since I have the material, but I just thought it would be fun to give it a try. I don't do that many Joy tutorials, so I thought that would be fun. Kathy said, help to keep focused, to set goals and make those ideas in real time. Exactly, Kathy. Very good point. Very good point. Yeah, it's been really good. So, yeah, and I think I was telling you guys that earlier, but I have so many drafts, which is like videos that I've recorded, you know, for whatever reason, and then I just have not edited and turned it into a final video. So I'm actually working on a spreadsheet of them because that's how many I have. And so I'll intersperse the lives that we have with these other videos as I get them edited and ready. Okay, so because the Joy only has one tool holder, it's now time to switch it over to the blade. So it's really super simple. We're just gonna open up the clamp and remove the pen and put the cap back on. Then I always like to check the blade before I do this, if I think about it. You want to be careful because the blade is sharp, but I just was looking for any kind of debris or anything I can see on there. Then we'll close that clamp up, and then I have to go back to my computer, in this case for the Joy, and click on go again. So that way all the drawing is done. Now it needs to go through and cut it. So it is kind of fun to cut matless with the Joy, since I don't really cut matless very often with my other machines. Ooh, I hope that's okay. I think it's a little wrinkled, and that's what is making me concerned. Oh no, you guys! I see what the problem is here. I never changed my leaves on this label over to draw. Oh no! Okay, we're gonna pause while I think this through. Because I did not remember that. Oh no! Okay. So So these are draw, right? Obviously the operation here is draw, but the accents that I put over here, I did not notice that. I did not make those. I did not change the operation from cut into draw. And so when I searched leaf accents, probably some of those ended up in my project that are still set to cut. So let's think this through here for just a hot second. Well, shoot, because these labels have not been cut out yet. Like the outside of them has not been cut out yet. So I could just let the Joy do its thing and just know that I'm going to have this nice little accent cut out. But my concern is that the lines are very, very fine. So if I do that, I'm a little concerned that it's going to rip up the sides of all my labels. Do you know what I'm saying? But if I unload it now, this is all I have of this material, and that will kind of finish up these labels, and they probably won't be usable. I mean, I could cut them out with scissors. Like, that's not the end of the world. But, you know, they won't be perfectly cut out by my machine. So, if you guys have any suggestions, put them in the comments. Because I don't know, and I haven't quite finished the first one. It is cutting in there. Like I said, I'm just worried it's going to rip up the sides of my labels. You're right, Kristen. I didn't filter the accents to draw. Very good call. Yeah, I didn't. You're right. Ugh, you guys. Okay. Okay. Well, if I unload it, everything is definitely unusable. If I let it cut out the little, you know, accent all the way down, then if it doesn't tear the labels up, they could be usable. What to do? You guys, this is what happens when Alex doesn't plan out her videos. All I know how to do is be super prepared. So, yeah. But at least you get to see that I'm a real person and I make mistakes too, right? If you have suggestions, let me know. Everything's attached, so I can't. I wish I could just like remove the accent and then have it cut the outline. But if I unload it, everything, like, it won't go in the same order again. Especially because I use the project copies. That is a disadvantage of using the project copies, is that it's not going to necessarily put them back in the same order that I have them in right now. It might, but it might not. Let me see. Kathy said cancel that part and next one, and then next one to cut the label. Kristen said, will it cut all accents at once or hopefully just complete one label? You know, honestly, Kristen, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what order it's going to cut things in. So it might, but it's cutting the accent now and it's not cut the outline of any of the labels yet. So, okay, let's resume and see what happens. Let's just see what happens. The worst thing that happens, right? So let's play out the scenario to the end. The worst thing that happens is that all the accents get cut out, and then it possibly makes the labels unusable if it rips up the right side, but it will at least cut out the oval labels for sure, because the oval labels are fine. So at least we can save half of them, right? So we'll go ahead and click on resume, and we'll just see what happens, right? That's funny, guys. Look at that. That's a bummer, because that was, yeah, that's a bummer. We'll just see, because that's all you can do, right? Let's see if it Okay, so now it's cutting out the border. So it's gonna cut every single accent before it cuts the border, which is not my favorite. But at this point, there's not really anything I can do. So, we're just gonna go with it, guys. We're gonna go with it because I have no other choice. Oh, that's funny. You know, that's Cricut crafting for you though. Happens sometimes. That's all part of it. Well, it looks like I'm gonna be ordering some more of this paper. Actually, I was just wondering to myself if I have used my coupon for this quarter yet. I don't remember if I have. I don't think so. Ooh, let me show you guys what I got with my last quarter. Let me show you. Oh, if I can even find it. Hold on. So this is the discount that I'm referring to is the Cricut Access coupon code if you pay for Cricut Access. So last quarter, somebody shared that this Cricut Joy like carrying case was on sale for I think like around $10. It was on clearance. And I've never taken my Cricut Joy anywhere in my life, full disclosure. But I got this handy little carrying case for free. I didn't pay anything for it, which is awesome. So it's literally still stuffed with paper. So you put the Joy here and have the little cords and stuff, whatever you want to take with you there. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, Kristen said, oh, these rectangle labels. We spent too much time finding the perfect spot for the accent and never checked the orientation. We have all been there. Yeah, got a little distracted, couldn't see the forest through the trees, and it happens. And maybe I can still, it'll look kind of funny, but I can maybe still use the labels even with that little accent cut out. Or with scissors, I could just cut that side off too. Because I still think there's enough room here that I can write what I need to write. We'll see. And if nothing else, I definitely, like I said, I still have the oval labels either way. It's just the rectangle ones that is kind of sketchy as to how it'll turn out. You know, Kristen, I don't know. Did the coupon end forever in April? Or do you mean like the end of the quarter? The end of the first quarter was the end of March. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into it. But I do really like that about Cricut Access. Because honestly, if I'm not in Design Space a ton, which to be totally honest with you, I haven't been recently, I feel like sometimes I don't know if I'm always like getting my money's worth of my Cricut Access membership. So it's nice to be able to get something like physical off the Cricut website with that discount. But I'll have to look up and make sure that that's still a perk. But anyways, let's take a look. Okay. We'll click on unload from the computer. Unload. Huh? Come on, buddy. Respond to me. There it goes. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, Kristen. So, Q1 was just at the end of March. So, now you're talking April, May, and June. So, we're kind of midway through the quarter, really. So it depends on if you've used your coupon code or not. And I'll have to look up what that code is. If you guys want me to share that, let me know. Because you might already know about that. But I always find it helpful for people to remind me because I often forget to redeem that Cricut Access code. Okay. So I did bring a food container, like an empty one, up here so that we can test these out. Because I just wanted to see, right? But just out of total curiosity, I might go ahead and cut off one of these rectangle ones because I want to see if this is going to work or if it's all going to be wasted. So, let me go ahead and cut. I'm going to cut the excess off. Make sure I don't cut my label here. And then, let's see. Yeah, those are like really close together, but Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and peel one of the rectangle ones up, and we're just gonna take a look at it together and see what it looks like with the accent cut out of the label. Ah. So yeah, it is like super, it really feels like paper with an adhesive on it. So let's see. Okay, let me show you guys a little closer. So all the little leaves stayed behind on the backing. And then here on the actual label itself, it looks like this. And there's like scraps left still in this part over here. Which isn't the end of the world. I can like pull those out. And I mean, that part is like not that big of a deal, right? So like I can stick all that down and it's gonna look really janky, but I can still use it. Cause you know, these are gonna go in my refrigerator, so they don't necessarily need, oh, that's still on my finger. They don't need to be pretty, but it's just fun when they are. That is so funny, you guys. I'm cracking up. Oh, so that's what this looks like when it's not cut properly. But I can go ahead and stick it on. I'll stick it back on this paper because I'll still use it. In fact, what I might do is pull some of this away here on the roll. And if I just cut off this part, I can stick the label like sideways. Just like that, or something like that. Right? Like it doesn't have to be pretty all the time. And sometimes it's not. So that adhesive definitely does not feel super strong to me, which, you know, for labeling leftovers is probably not a bad thing. But it definitely doesn't feel super strong. So just something to note, you probably won't be able to stick it down probably more than once when you actually put it on a container. But I'm going to make some extra room here because I'll pick up one of the oval labels and show you that too. And I'll cut off the excess so that I have a place to stick back my other label once I peel it off. Yeah, Kristen said it doesn't look bad. They are dissolving. Exactly. So you don't want something super strong and like super robust if you're just gonna wash it off anyways. So here's what the labels look like on the backing. And then I'll peel it off and we'll take a closer look. And I might sacrifice one, I probably will, and put it on the container that I brought upstairs just to show you guys an example. So that's what it looks like. So, you know, not crazy fancy or anything, but kind of just fancy enough. And I have a bunch of containers. Honestly, all my containers look different. Most of them are Pyrex brand, but I have round ones, rectangle ones, you know, all the things. And actually, I didn't think about that, but hopefully it sticks on the plastic okay. It actually would probably work better on glass as far as like sticking, just because everything sticks easily to glass, honestly. I'll see if I can, hopefully it'll stick down, because I had planned to put it on the lid, but maybe it's going to have to go on the, like on the side or something, which I did not plan for. It's because that'll be kind of, you know, I have to make them a different shape, at least for this one, because like along the side there's not very much room. And if like putting it on the bottom, that doesn't really do us any good, does it? So, well, I'm not going to stick this down until I can figure it out, but it's not sticking at all to the top of my Pyrex, which is a bummer. And you know, honestly, it probably wouldn't be the worst idea to measure like the side. See, it's like totally coming up. So that might be something to note. I didn't know that about this material because this is my first time working with it. But it might not be the worst idea to like measure the side of your containers if you have consistently sized containers and like making a label for the side, because when you think about it, when you open up your refrigerator, most of the time you're looking probably at the side of your containers, not the top. So that might be a project idea for you, is to like do, you know, either the long side or the short side, depending on how you store and stack these in your refrigerator. But that, I cannot get that to stick at all. Now granted, this is one of our very well loved Pyrex containers. So I guess it could be that because it's been washed a million times. It's nowhere near new, but you guys can probably see that's not sticking at all. So, anyway, I guess I can't show you an example if it won't stay. But for now, I'll stick it back down here. But you guys, that is, oh, thank you, Dee. Kristen said those are silicone-like lids. That won't work. Are you? Well, they are silicone-like, but they're not silicone. They're definitely like smooth plastic. They're super smooth, but they're not silicone. They're, in fact, that one's even ripped, but they're, see if it even says. No. It just says it's BPA-free plastic. So, some of like my taller bowls and stuff though, I do use a lot of large bowls and things like that when I'm storing like whole meals and stuff like that, like chili or soup or something. So you could still use these on the side of a smooth glass container regardless of the lid. But that might change how I use these. So it's always good to know, right? And I try to think about it as I experiment with these things so that you don't have to, you know? So now you know, if you are a glass, you know, Pyrex user like me, this may not be the material for you because it may or may not stick. But I'll switch you over to my main angle. But you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This was so much fun. It brought me so much joy to come hang out with you again because it's been a while. I miss you guys. And I hope to be back doing this on a weekly basis again. So yay. Like I said, I'm shooting for Thursdays. I'm not 100% sure about the time. So far today, 3 o'clock worked well. But we're going to have to just kind of see how it goes. And I also want to make sure that you're on my email list because my email list is definitely the most communicated with overall. I send out newsletters like every month, but I do tend to send you like links and stuff to like premieres or live videos when they are scheduled. So let me drop that link for you in the description real quick. And if you're not already on my email list, definitely sign up because that's the best way to get those links directly to your inbox. Plus, I know with social media, you may or may not see a post. And so I think that email is just a really great way to get a hold of people. It's a great way to get a hold of me because it doesn't get lost in the noise, you know? So let me share this real quick. And then we'll kind of be on our way, you guys. And I can, this is in the description of my video as well. You just fill out this form and then that puts you on my email list. So I do tend to schedule my emails like for first thing in the morning. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. This was so much fun. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to DIY Alex for more tutorials a lot like this one. Leave any questions in the comments of this video, preferably not in the live chat. I guess you probably won't have access to the live chat because oh, sorry. That was like a weird thing on the screen. I was just looking over and that looked super odd. Anyway, the live chat will end. So leave your questions in the comments of this video and I'll try to come back and answer them. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me.